Is 3-0 kind of puts that little run of poor results to an end before the international break. And Ram, from your point of view, how impressed were you today with the boys?
Much better. Much better. Compare it to the last couple of games against Luton and Toulouse. Much better. The exact performance I wanted us to see. And I was happy from start to finish. There was a couple of hairy moments here and there, a couple of missed passes, missed controls, and people out of position that led to their chances. But all in all, a very dominant performance. Technically, we put the ball in the back of the net 5 times, but if Nunes was able to stay on side for 2 of them, he would have got himself a goal and assist. But yeah, I can't fault anyone today that had a bad game. I think probably the weakest aspect was our midfield. We was getting outrun and out-muscled by the Brentford midfield, but that's Brentford. They're known to be very aggressive and very physical. But it's still, with Liverpool, we need to be dominating the midfield against Brentford. But yeah, all in all, just a very solid performance and the exact performance I wanted us to see, given the results that we got at Luton and at Toulouse as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Still a few holes in terms of conceding counter-attacks as an example, but then this is Brentford, and Brentford are very good at doing that. What did you make of Darwin Núñez's performance overall today? I know he didn't get on the score sheet, but for me, this is one of the best games I've seen him have in a Liverpool shirt.
Yeah. I mean, this all season even though I've been criticizing and praising at the same, one thing I praise is that his overall game in terms of his technical abilities, passing, his link-up play with the players around him has gotten a lot better. His touch has gotten a lot better as well. And that technical aspect, I can't fault him for that. Like, he has shown various signs of improvement, and we have to give him credit for that. And yeah, today's game overall, holding up the play, being as physical as possible, playing the ball to Mo Salah whenever the opportunity was, his runs in behind, just his overall number 9 play was terrific in my opinion. Very good. Very good. And he keeps on doing this and obviously adding some goals to his game. What a striker he could be, man.
Seriously, Sam, thanks for coming back on the show, mate. Important to get those 3 points. Everyone wants to win their last game before the international break. How impressed were you with the team today? And are there any areas you would look at for improvement?
Listen, the last 2 games I've been very critical of the team because there were certain things that we were doing that it just didn't seem right. And I've been the most positive, probably one of the most positive Liverpool fans coming into this season, even saying that if we get a DM and a centre-back, we can go and win the league. But this was a much well-improved game from us. I mean, even though there were some hairy moments in the first half, like the amount of chances we were creating, I was like, all right, cool. This is the Liverpool I'm seeing now that I'm used to from the beginning of the season. So even when we were missing the chances, even when Salah even missed that chance on his right foot, when Trent gave him the ball, it was more of like I was a little bit relaxed because I knew that we are going to create more chances and we are going to score, which we ended up doing with the 2 goals. A big shout out to Tsimikas because he has had a lot of critics, but I think he had an okay game. Well done for never giving up on the ball. Crossing it to Salah. Núñez was brilliant today. I mean, everything but the goal, but his pass to Salah for the first goal was brilliant. And as I said before, a CDM is so important in this team because if you actually look at the table and look at the goals that we have conceded, our defense hasn't been that bad as people have made it up to be in the beginning of the season. But for winning a title, we need somebody to solidify. Now, Endo was okay today, but Endo's not that guy for us to push on and win a title with. So if we go in January and address that situation, also getting a left-sided centre-back that can also play left-back, as I said at the beginning of the season, we can really push on to win this league. But other than that, good performance today, solid performance today, clean sheet as well. We move on and watch the Man City versus Chelsea game.
Exactly. You can watch that now and relax and enjoy it as a spectacle. I did want to ask you boys, of course, a lot of Brentford fans, including the manager, rival fans, of course, everywhere, stating that Endo should have received a red card. What was your take on this, boys?
No. It was a 50-50 and he didn't get the man cleanly. If he was a little bit more reckless, then I would 100% hear it. But he wasn't as reckless as I've seen a lot of 50-50 challenges have been. So, yeah, it was technically his own fault because he miscontrolled his dribble entirely. So yeah, he got a little bit lucky with that, but it wasn't a red in my opinion. He pulled out in the last minute kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because one thing I hate that they show referees, especially on VAR, and they go and check the VAR, is the still image. Now, if you see the still image, you're thinking, "Ooh, here's." You're looking at it. It's worse than what it seems. That's what I'm trying to say. It's worse than what it seems. However, if you look at the actual challenge in real time, it wasn't as bad. Like the power wasn't really there. Now, if you looked at Curtis Jones's and what's his name, Romero, that's it. You look at that in real time, you're saying, "Whoa, that's a red card." Even though maybe Curtis Jones, the intent wasn't there, but you can say, okay, red card. Even though Romero didn't mean he got the ball first, but he went straight through.
I agree. It's the same as Endo and Rashford's midweek in Europe. When you watch them in real time, yes, the sort of bottom of the shin and ankle have been trodden on. But firstly, both were accidental. And secondly, there wasn't enough power to cause any real damage. Therefore, it's not dangerous. And
it was more of a swipe than an actual lunge, if you get what I mean. He tried to swipe the ball.
It's just a tackle, and they both kind of touch the ball, and then his follow through hits him. If he lunges and leaves the ground and comes through him, then I think you've got nowhere to go. But as I say, I'd love to be able to come here and say Brentford got robbed and the referees were awful again and Liverpool got lucky. But I'm not going to sit here and just be biased about it. Like, you've got to be honest. And if we're going to call, this is what I would say. If you're going to call out the refs, you're going to slam VAR, you have to be balanced in that approach and say they got it right when they got it right. You can't just make out like everything's wrong all the time, you know?
To be fair, the referee performance today was okay. There was only one challenge where I thought, he shouldn't have got a yellow card for that, which was Matip's challenge. I was thinking, wait, how did the player lunged into Matip?
It wasn't a foul, but because he gave the foul and they were on a break, even though it wasn't a foul, he had to give the yellow card kind of. That's the only mistake that he did. I think he had a decent game.
Yeah. Other than that, the referee performance was fine.
Yeah. IFL says, Terry, there's no such thing as accidental. Well, of course there is. Of course there is. Now, it doesn't need to be written into the law book. Well, I'll give you an example. If a player jumps up to win the ball, he has to use his arms. Sometimes they catch each other with their arms, with their elbow. That is an accidental elbow. They are not committing violent conduct by elbowing them. Rashford was trying to shield the ball, wasn't looking at the player, stood on the top of the guy's ankle, accidentally. Therefore, in my personal opinion, because of there's no law about intent to hurt, but there is around when you're taught about the laws of the game. What was your intention when you were putting your foot down? Was it to challenge for the ball? Was it to shield the ball? Did you know somebody was there? As an example, you step backwards and you don't know someone's only treading their leg. That's different from stamping on them. So to say that accidental is not in the law of the game or within the interpretations of the game is a complete fallacy.
I just see people in the comments saying, like, we're saying that the ref was good today because we won. And I'm like, no, tell you this. 2 of the goals that we shouldn't have got. And that was down to the referee making the right decision. So
no, he did. I think honestly, I think the referee got everything right today. I can understand why Brentford fans would want the Endo red card. And there is an argument for it because the guy's got a couple of big stud dents and cuts in his shins, etc. And I can understand it. But when you look at others that are similar, there's always a lunge or they're hitting a standing leg. And again, if you're standing on a leg, it's more likely to break than when your leg's laying across the ground. The leg generally breaks because as the foot gets hit, yes, it's the force of the tackle, but it's the fact that your stud gets stuck in the ground. So if your foot isn't in the ground, is it as dangerous? And these are the things, honestly, I don't understand why football fans don't get this. It all seems pretty basic to me personally. Terry, behave yourself, you little hater. Stop it. Yeah, I don't know who I'm hating on today. It is what it is. Alisson today. I know you love him, Ram, and I know there's been times where you've called him out as your player of the season. Although he didn't have a huge amount to do, it's a few saves late on, but that big save from Mbeumo early on in the first half, when if that goes in, it could have been a very different game.
100%. I mean, we've gone. I think me and Samuel can say we're tired of speaking of how good this guy is. I think we're tired of saying he's the best in the world, and he's showing it week in, week out, and he is proving himself to be the best in the world. And again, what he does best is cleaning up for other people's mistakes, and Trent in that position when it was from a corner, he wasn't in the right position. What he does, cleans up other people's mistakes, and that's what you expect from a top class goalkeeper, in my opinion. So yeah, Alisson's Alisson, man. Distribution-wise, really good. Saving-wise, really good. Positioning-wise, really good. Commanding of the area, really good. Like, everything he does is at a really, really good standard, and he is the best in the world, and there is no debate, in my opinion.
I mean, he is a title-winning keeper. Let's just put it like that. I'll remember last season where he was the standout, but I was a little bit annoyed because the whole team wasn't playing together well. But in this season, where the team is playing very well, and you got a keeper like that, it gives you the assurance that it's kind of like, okay, a guy's gone through a goal, but we got this world beater of a keeper there, and more probably he will save it. And that as he did with the room insurance, he saved it.
Yeah, look, he's just out of this world. He's so good, and it's annoying how good he is, because there are times where I think, right, Liverpool, the amount of times in the last 4, I mean, you've lost games in this time, but there's been so many games in the last, say, 2 or 3 seasons where the teams are creating the opportunities, but he keeps them out. And I think a lesser goalkeeper, even just by one kind of sort of runner down on the ladder, those extra goals you concede change those games dramatically in that way. But
I was going to say, ability-wise, I think he's top 3 in Premier League of all time. Ability-wise, I think the stuff that the guy can do in terms of saving, the overall qualities that he has, it is comparable to the very best that we've seen in the Premier League, like your Schmeichels, your Czechs, people like that. He is ability-wise one of the best Premier League goalkeepers we've seen. And that's
he's there. He's in that category. He is. And one thing I don't do is compare modern day goalkeepers to the greats of yesteryear, because they weren't trained as kids or as adults to play out from the back. So I wouldn't go, well, one can play with his feet and Schmeichel or Petr Cech can't. I think it's a completely different era of goalkeepers. The same as I don't think we should compare goalkeepers from sort of the 90s onwards to goalies that used to do it with heavier balls in the rain with no gloves on, because you could argue that's a lot harder. So goalkeepers really is an era thing. I think in this era of modern day goalkeepers, I really can think of only Manuel Neuer that you would say that you could argue is better when it comes to every facet of the game. That Edison's good, but I don't think he's as good a shot stopper. I don't think he's as good at one-on-ones. Brilliant with his feet. Like, Edison's good, but I'm saying, like, in terms of comparing them, like, for me, Alisson's one of those interesting ones. I am surprised that a Real Madrid or a Barcelona, and Barca got their money issues potentially, haven't come in with a stupid offer for him by this point already. Like, he's one of those players where losing him could actually be more detrimental than losing a top goal scorer at your club.
We like to talk about how this generation of players is just, in terms of outfield players, it's not very good. But I'd argue the generation of goalkeepers across the world is probably the best that we've seen in quite a while. Like, every single top team has had a top goalkeeper in their team. Like, you say Real Madrid, they've got Courtois in their team, and he's arguably one of the best in the world. So
it's shot stopping, yes. I think in terms of their play, I think their play can improve even more with the distribution levels of Alisson. But I hear you on that. And look, we bought a very good goalkeeper. Our club started badly. Last 4 or 5 games, though, he's been really good. And we haven't been great on outfield, but he's been saving us. And it's like, it's good to have a good goal. Like, I knew we'd start finding his feet. I just want it to be even more regularly. Cut the super chats before the Chelsea game. This one here says, Terry, on behalf of Liverpool fans, let me simplify it for you once and for all. Salah is Liverpool's best ever in the Premier League, but not in the Premier League era, which is still Gerrard. That doesn't make sense. If you're the best ever in the Premier League, you have to be the best in the Premier League era.
Yeah, you didn't simplify.
I'll be honest with you, Joel, I appreciate the super chat, but that those two things, if Gerrard is the GOAT, or like, sorry, but not the Premier League. If Gerrard is the best in the Premier League era, then he's your best Premier League player ever. It can't be both for me. It's one or the other. And listen, I don't really care who it is. I'm just telling you what I think. And I think most Liverpool fans won't say it on camera, but I think when they're at home, they go, yeah, it's that Salah admin. Again, technically, you could argue Gerrard's better ability-wise. But what Mo Salah has done and delivered, the moments of joy, the level of goals, the records, etc. And if he lands a couple more big trophies for you, clear. A new Man United creative midfielder next window. Come on, you gooners. I think you mean MU, Man United, is what I would assume that means, but I don't know. I hope we do. We need some more creativity because we are pants. Why do Arsenal and Liverpool get away with red cards? Fabio Vieira
got season. Wait,
Yeah,
might-
we've got about
you-
4 red cards.
You had a few this season. Of course, Curtis Jones and Jota in the same game. And Arsenal literally had a player sent off yesterday. So unknown. Go back to being unknown, my friend. It's safer. Look, I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show today. We are live.